and data portability. It's the same stance he took in March of 2019 when he asked for Congress to come in and regulate Facebook. The CEOs of Facebook, Google, and Twitter are meeting with the Senate Commerce Committee Wednesday and will examine Section 230 of the Communications Decency Act, shielding big tech from liability. In the wake of the police killing of Walter Wallace Jr. as he approached officers with a knife, tensions boiled over between officers and demonstrators Tuesday evening. Scattered looting broke out in several areas of the city, prompting police to request that residents in West and North Philadelphia, Kensington, and other areas remain indoors. USA Radio News.
Balance of Nature's fruits and vegetables in a capsule, changing the world one life at a time.
I had begun to notice after 10 days with Balance of Nature. I felt better, more energetic, and believe me, for me, that's something because I have energy anyway. But as old as I am, that was really something to start really noticing. You know, we're all responsible for choosing what our attitudes are, but I had a better mental outlook. I mean, I always try to be positive, but there were subtle things in me that I began to notice. I just felt a difference with this.
Get a wide variety of all your daily recommended servings of whole fruits and vegetables without having to leave your home. Right now, Balance of Nature is offering free shipping and 35% off on any new preferred order. Call 1-800-2468-751 or go to balanceofnature.com and use discount code USA.
Today in Ag News on the Southeast AgNet, well, despite the annual Sunbelt Ag Expo not taking place last week, the crops on the Expo ground still have to be harvested. With more on that story, here's Clint Thompson.
The Sunbelt Ag Expo may not have taken place this year amid COVID-19 concerns, but that doesn't mean the Moultrie, Georgia site is completely desolate this year. Research trials on a variety of commodities continued this growing season. And now is the time that University of Georgia scientists and industry leaders are harvesting their crops, says Chip Blaylock, Executive Director of the Sunbelt Expo.
But that's been the one bright spot is the research farm hasn't stopped. We're still doing research in cotton, peanuts, corn, soybeans, grain, sorghum. Heck, we even had the variety trials in sunflowers this year, and, of course, our Bermuda grass forages that we're having the hay school with this week. So we're always looking for those techniques to utilize in future growing seasons.
According to SunbeltExpo.com, the expo features a 100-acre exhibit area adjoining a 600-acre working research farm. Blaylock added that it's been an interesting harvest season because it was so wet for so long, which put some of the peanut producers behind. Hopefully they'll get over that hump and get in more timely harvest as we move through the fall. For more information, see SoutheastAgNet.com. For Southeast AgNet, I'm Clint Thompson.
The Environmental Quality Incentives Program, or EQIP, is a continuous sign-up program allowing landowners or operators to apply for financial and technical assistance from many types of conservation practices. And USDA's Natural Resources Conservation Service in Florida has made it easy to get more details. Just log on to www.fl.nrcs.usda.gov. You'll find links to more detailed information on the overall EQIP program, or simply stop by your local NRCS office. Randall Wiseman, Southeast AgNet.
When it really counts, depend on the source for the latest weather updates, keeping you ahead of the storm. 96.3 FM, 1370 AM, The Source.
Today will be warm and humid with a mix of clouds and sunshine. Look for a brief shower this afternoon, high 87 to 90. Partly cloudy and humid this evening, low 72 to 76. Then Thursday will be warm and humid with a mix of clouds, sunshine, and a high of 88 to 90. Partly sunny and less humid on Friday, high Friday 81 to 87. From the Florida Weather Center, I'm Holly Holdren.
Last week in the high school football game of the week, presented by McCarson Electric, the Wolfpack improved to 4-1 with a thrilling overtime win against the Forest Wildcats.
It's 4th and goal. The game is in the balance here.
There's the option.
I formation. New set. Bertzall to himself to the bottom. They're going to give it to the running back. He's hit in the backfield. The Wolfpack win! The Wolfpack win!
Great play. And I'm trying to make the number out there. Is that Chisholm? Chisholm was the guy who made the play on the edge, and he just read that thing perfect. What a game. What a game.
The WOCA High School Football Game of the Week is presented by McCarson Electric. This week, the Wolfpack have a bye week, so join the pro, the coach, and the troll on November 7th as the Wolfpack travel to Dunellen to take on the Tigers. It's the high school football game of the week presented by McCarson Electric, and you can hear it all right here on WOCA, The Source.
My fellow conservatives, I have an urgent message. Vote no on Amendment 3. This is Ryan Chamberlain with Save My Constitution. Amendment 3 will let liberals vote against conservatives in primaries. Liberals hope that Amendment 3 will water down conservative leadership in Florida's legislature so they can raise taxes and limit our gun rights. Let's stop their scheme. Vote no on Amendment 3. Paid electioneering communication paid for by Save My Constitution, 1700 North Monroe Street, Suite 11-253, Tallahassee, Florida 32303.
This is Ocala Talks with Tom Schmitz, bringing stories that are important to our community in and around Ocala. Plus, of course, a splash of sports as well. Now, here's your host, Tom.
Good Wednesday morning to you. Welcome to Ocala Talks with Tom Schmitz. I'm coming to you live from the palatial studios of WOCA Radio, just outside the food court entrance to the Paddock Mall in the Brick City Beautiful, Ocala, Florida. It is hump day. Let's go right out to the phone lines and talk to a guy who, he's still working. He's up early and he's working, as always. Brought to you by Penn Flooring and Palm Garden Health and Rehabilitation. It is the Life South moment with Galen Unall. Galen, good morning.
Hey, what's going on, Tom? How are you today, man? You tired from that game last night?
A little tired. You know what I'm tired mostly of, though? I'm tired of human beings letting mathematics try to solve the problems of live sporting events. Mathematics should be used when setting odds to gamble. You gotta use your gut, you gotta use instinct, and you gotta run with the hot-handed. I firmly say that the Dodgers won 4-2 with a 3-1 victory last night because Kevin Cash outthought himself into a loss.
Yeah, and I think this is probably one of the best examples. And and he defended the decision at the end. But there are a couple of factors that I'm surprised it didn't work in. One was, I think Blake Snell had only had 71 pitches up to that point. He was on fire. They had only put like 6 balls in play. They were dominant. He was dominant. Had a 1-0 lead. He allowed a single with 1 out, right? So it's not like he's in all kinds of trouble. And then boom, quick hook.
Well,
and I'm thinking, oh boy, what are we doing?
When I did that, and I knew he was going to do it as soon as he got the hit, as soon as the ninth batter, that was the 9th batter in the rotation.
Right.
And I knew as soon as he got a hit, and by the way, if that batter had made it out, Snell was probably still going to get pulled from the game because Kevin Cash.
That's the thing.
Kevin Cash adheres to the thought process that mathematics say you have less of a chance of getting batters out the 3rd time through the batting order that they see the same pitcher. So he, if that's the case, Greg Maddux, Tom Glavine, these guys who were John Smoltz, who would pitch almost 300 innings a year and get into the 8th and 9th innings, they'd have never been successful in baseball. Randy Johnson, Roger Clemens, these guys, and yet say what you want about PEDs and all. Okay, let's get that out of the way. But these guys, Nolan Ryan, these guys pitched deep into batting orders because they had electric stuff. And last night, Snell had electric stuff, and his power got cut after he faced the 9th hitter in the order for the 2nd time.
Yeah, and again, it's analytics, and Mookie Betts being Mookie Betts, he hits the double, and then comes around on a wild pitch basically and scores the go-ahead run, and then hits the home run. And I like Mookie Betts. I think he's one of the eminent players in the game. But again, this is what's wrong with baseball, right? They're trying to take the human side of it. I hate the replay. I think the replay's terrible for baseball because it slows down the game. There is a huge force trying to put a computer behind the plate, and the computer calls balls and strikes.
There's a big movement to do
that. Yeah, and so again, I think you nailed it. I think baseball's losing its core essence, where you play with a little feel, but that's happening in all sports. And some dude with a spreadsheet. This is all Billy Bean's fault. Watch Moneyball. That dramatically changed the way all sports are played, because from a baseball standpoint, it became, how do we buy runs? What's the cheapest we can spend to buy a run or to save a run? And that dramatically changed baseball.
I think that
it will never recover. It will never recover.
I think analytics has a very big place on the offensive side of the game. That, a guy that maybe he's a 230 hitter, but he walks, one time a game, well, then add that walk in and he's on base, his on base percentage, because you can't score runs unless you're on base. And so walks had never gotten the credit that they needed, because you put a man on base, he can score. He doesn't get a hit to get there, but he got there so he could score. So walks never got what they wanted. So analytics helped bring walks as more prominent, because they are. You can't score unless you're on base. But on the defensive side of the ball, he's seen him twice. You can't see him a third time. Well, that's not – pitching is different than offense and getting on base. Pitching and defense is all about what you're doing, where you're in the game, and Snell was just owning the Dodger lineup. They didn't even have any good swings against him. Mookie Betts said, I didn't know why they did it, but I'm glad they did it. That's Mookie Betts' comment.
That's exactly
I don't
right.
know why they did it, but I'm glad they did it.
Well, and again, stats have always been a key part of baseball. Batting average and on-base percentage, and those things are incredible. ERA on the pitcher side, and defensive analytics have really come alive. But I think the Rays, and let's be very honest, that's how they made it to the World Series, is following those probabilities. But it cost them any chance of winning the World Series.
Well, probabilities.
So
the world of probabilities, because I was a professional poker player for 10 years, okay? I went around the country playing poker for 10 years. And the laws of probability are great for games of poker. They're great for 162 game seasons, because you have such a large sample size that analytics will rule out. The laws of probability will rule out over long periods of time. Not a 7-game series. That's not a long period of time. We're talking 162 games, or over 3, like Oakland when they were in the late 80s and the early 90s, when Billy got rid of all the big contracts, and middle 90s and started playing Billy ball and everything. That was over 160. And Billy Bean actually did it over a 3-year series. In 3 years, he looked at it at 486 games is how his analytics were pulled. The laws of probability over 486 games are going to be a whole lot different than they are over 7 games. And sometimes I think we lose the fact that you're no longer in a long probability sample size. You're in a short sample size, and sometimes you got to go with the hot hand.
Yeah, and again, they've taken the gut out of being a manager, and that's a problem for me. So then what's the point of having them? Just have a laptop up there, and the laptop will tell you what to do.
Well, basically, that's what they're doing.
That's basically what it's come.
That's basically what they're doing.
And so the manager has nothing to do with it, and even in Tampa, it's something that's talked about. It's like, just because I'm making the decision doesn't mean I'm making the decision. This computer is telling me.
Well, that's the thing. They've taken. Could you imagine if Sparky Anderson looked at a computer and then yelled out to Johnny Bench what pitch, gave a sign to Johnny Bench, and then Johnny Bench would have told Sparky Anderson, "You shut up and do your job over there. I'll do mine out here."
Right. I got to sell some spray paint, Rust-Oleum.
I mean,
no runs, no drips,
could
no
you
air.
imagine Johnny Bench not calling the game from behind the plate?
No. Again, this is part of what's. This is, and let's be clear, that was one of the golden ages of baseball with a big red machine. And you back then the ratings.
And we just hit that area on the way to Gainesville. We just hit your area on the way to Gainesville.
Gosh darn it! All right, So now 7 million people are watching the game. That's a real problem, and I wonder how baseball is going to respond to it.
And most of the guys and most of the people watching it are analytics junkies that are just watching it for their rotisserie league anyway.
Yeah, I think that's a big part. Fantasy baseball is a thing. I play fantasy baseball. It's something I enjoy. I didn't do it this year because there was just no point. And it's the long game in fantasy baseball. But you're right. In a short series, 7 games, the Rays blew it. And I think if you're a Rays fan, you're very, very disappointed in your team. But again, you've got to know that going in, that this is who you are as a franchise. You have the worst stadium on planet Earth, and you're run by a computer. Those are the two inevitabilities that come with being a Rays fan.
Well, I will agree with you on one of those anyway. Hey, let's take a break, pay some bills.
You don't think Tropicana Field's the worst stadium in the world?
We will get into that after this short timeout.
All right.
You're listening to 1370 AM, 96.3 FM, WOCA, The Source.
Hi, this is JP from Penn Flooring here in Ocala. I would like to invite you to come in and visit our spacious showroom where we have solutions for every style and budget. From wall-to-wall carpet to hardwood floors and tiles, we have an unsurpassed selection of flooring. At Penn Flooring, we've provided quality customer service with a family touch for over 25 years. Visit our website at pennflooring.com or come by our showroom, 1201 Southwest 17th Street, just over the bridge. Penn Flooring, quality customer service with a family touch.
People ask me why I've worked at Palm Garden for so long, and I tell them it's the people. I love to hear the life stories, especially those from the greatest generation. Celebrating life stories is what sets Palm Garden apart, finding out what's important to them. And I love being a resource. Like Macy's Santa, if I can't help, I'll send them to Gimbel's. After all, Palm Garden is located on 34th Street. I'm Jan from Palm Garden. Call me and let's chat. 854-6262.
Welcome back to Ocala Talks with Tom Schmitz. We're talking with Galen Unall from Life South. He is brought to you every day by the good folks at Penn Flooring, family owned and operated, serving Marion County for 30 plus years. They owe every bit of their success to their unrivaled customer service. They're a full-service flooring company dedicated to finding the best solutions of your flooring needs and having experience in both commercial and residential fields. They're located on 17th Street here in Ocala. Call them at 352-351-3420. That's Penn Flooring. Also like to thank the people at Palm Gardens Health and Rehabilitation Center. They're located at 2700 Southwest 34th Street. They offered skilled nursing, physical, occupational, and speech therapy. If you have any questions, give Palm Gardens a call, 352-854-6262. That's 352-854-6262. Thank you to Penn Flooring and Palm Garden. Without you guys, having Galen on a daily basis would not be possible. Speaking of Galen, he's back with us. Galen, you just can't say enough about the people that sponsor your program.
No, I love them both. Go see Craig. Go see Jan.
So let's get into Craig Stewart. That's one of my good buddies.
That's too bad.
Let's get into this thing that you just said, that it's the worst baseball stadium in baseball.
Yeah. No. Let me clarify my statement. It's the worst stadium in all of sports in the world.
Okay. Oakland Alameda Coliseum is the worst stadium in all of sports.
Nope.
It's terrible.
Nope, it's fantastic.
It's a terrible
stadium. First of all, it's outside and it's got real grass. The Tropicana Field has fake grass that's 5 different colors, and the lighting in that building is atrocious. It's got these rafters that are actually in play.
Yes. Yes, they are. They're in play 140 feet up. It's part of the ground rules, everything's got weird ground rules, like the stadium in Houston.
I get that.
The stadium in Houston, that stupid hill in center field.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. But why I like Tropicana, now I will give you this. The area the stadium in is not terrible. It's not the best, okay?
It's terrible. You can't even get there from here. You have to go on a bridge that takes you an extra 2.5 hours.
A late night game, you got to have your head on a swivel in that area, okay? I'll give you that. But inside the stadium, There's not a bad seat in that house. You feel like you're in a smaller stadium in a nice confines of stadium. I had season tickets in section 302 because I was cheap. So I bought the cheapest season tickets I could buy for the race. And 302 sits right behind home plate all the way up. I was in row K. I was literally about 13 rows from the top of the dome. Some of the best seats. You get to see everything. You don't miss anything. I love that stadium. I love everything about it. I love the atmosphere in there. I love the cowbells. Oh, it's fantastic.
What atmosphere? What atmosphere from 11,000 fans in a stadium that holds 50?
Yeah, but when I was
talking about atmosphere, last year
I was a season ticket holder in 2008. It was pretty good.
Oh, congratulations. Maybe at that point in time, maybe the carpet was only 3 colors instead of 5.
And by the way,
I'm glad Wade Boggs was a great player.
You got to remember. I'm an Atlanta Braves fan through and through.
Was there.
Remember, I'm an Atlanta Braves fan through and through. So to have 7,500 people in a stadium, let me tell you, in the mid-'80s, 7,500 people in Atlanta Fulton County Stadium would have been considered a sellout. I mean, you can go to a game in the mid-'80s. People think the Braves have been so good for so long. You could go to a game in the mid-'80s in Atlanta. You could buy a $2.50 bleacher seat in Fulton County Stadium, sit 2 rows behind the third base dugout with nobody around you. Yeah, it was the Fulton County Stadium. It was Atlanta Fulton County Stadium. Jack Murphy was in San Diego.
That's right. What am I thinking?
But you have Fulton County Stadium, and the launching pad is what they called it, and they would say today's announced attendance 14,300. You'd look around, there may be 2,000 people in the whole place, but the Braves were winning 51 games a year. They were losing 110 games a year. They were horrible.
It's hard to do, too.
I mean, Dale Murphy, how great was Dale Murphy that he was the MVP of the league 2 years in a row on a last-place team?
Well, there's a reason why he's not in the Hall.
Because he was on the last-place team.
Yeah. Yeah, how valuable are you if you only win 51 games?
Yeah, but if they hadn't had Dale Murphy, they'd have won 12.
I actually like the launching pad. I always thought it was a good stadium. But again, I just hate Tropicana. They got that stupid Ray tank in the back.
I love that Rays tank. I go pet the Rays all the time.
Oh, yeah, it's about a 45-minute walk from your seat. And it's just a terror. And I've been there several times. Only time that it's any fun to go to is if they're playing the Red Sox and the Yankees, and that's because there's 30,000 Red Sox fans or 30,000 Yankees fans.
You're just not. That's not correct.
The whole thing with the cowbell. The Cowboys, stupid.
I love the cowbell. Got to have more cowbell, baby.
Probably like the Zuzuzela thing too.
I got a fever, and the only thing that's going to solve it is more cowbell, baby.
All right. Well, that's a great skit. But it's terrible. Come on.
I love the stadium.
And do you believe the Rays? I think the Rays are gone as soon as their contract's up. They're talking about splitting between Montreal and St. Pete. And if they do that, their fans will.
Oh, they will have no fan base.
Right. And again, they're gone. I don't think Tampa wants them because they don't want them to. They definitely don't want to pay for a stadium. They're going to move to Ybor City. Yeah, and I'll give credit to the owner. The owner is doing everything they possibly can as an ownership group to get a stadium deal done. The city of Tampa and everywhere they go, they're like, we're not paying for it. If you want to move, you move. I'm just not paying for it. And by the way, that's the way it should be. I can't stand when these cities pay for these stadiums. And then they just get up and leave whenever they want.
Okay.
If you're going to run a business, go run a business. You don't need government support.
The one thing I agree, the one thing you and I agree on is when you have billion-dollar owners, and let's make no mistake about it. If you own a professional sports franchise in the NBA, the NFL, or Major League Baseball. I'm not sure about hockey, but any of the three, Major League Baseball with the TV money they have, NBA and NFL, you're not a millionaire. You're a billionaire. And as a billionaire, if you can't privately fund a stadium or an event center for your team to play in, put the team up for sale and get out.
Well, and again, what they've proven, they did this in Boston, is because the Red Sox ownership owns Fenway Park. And so that's part of their ownership group. And so they're constantly doing events there, and they make money off of the stadium itself. And that's the way it should be. You know, I cannot stand these governmentally funded. Look at Atlanta, about your beloved.
Don't even get me
Braves
started on the TED.
Absolutely
that was
screwed.
100%.
Screwed them to go to Cobb, which is not a great stadium. I get it, what they're trying to build. The stadium itself is very sterile. There's no personality. They built it as fast as they could.
And the TED, by the way, the TED had personality. The TED had personality. By the way, it was also the Olympic Stadium that they turned into the TED, so it had that kind of history with it. It was only 19 years old. And by the way, I will say this, and I'll go on the air and say it publicly. It doesn't bother me. They moved the Atlanta Braves from where they were to where they are now, but over race. Okay, let me just, and I never pulled the race card. I hate the race card.
No, you're not wrong.
But they moved the Atlanta Braves from downtown Atlanta to Whitey, Cobb County, because they didn't think the Caucasians were coming downtown enough to Braves games because they didn't like the African American population downtown. So they moved it out to Cobb County where white folks would come to the game. And whether you like it or not, I'm from Georgia. I know the atmosphere in Georgia. Believe me, that was the motivation behind that move.
Yeah. And having gone to both, and you take the MARTA, and then when the MARTA didn't go all the way, so you'd have to get out. You have to walk.
Yeah.
And
underground's not safe. By the way, underground's not safe.
No.
I will go on record as saying underground not safe.
Despite the police presence, it was sketchy all the way.
100%.
And you know, I would not bring my family there. I just wouldn't have brought them to a game until they were older. Now my kids, can take care of themselves. But I would have not felt safe bringing like young children to there.
Well, what aggravated me?
It's not getting there; it's getting back.
Right.
It's getting back. That's so hard.
What aggravated me about moving, and we got to get to where the Bloodmobile's at. But what aggravated me the most about the move to Cobb County was not the racial reason, because whether you like it or not, that's why they did it. It's that they left the left field wall from Fulton County Stadium, where it is in the parking lot, where Hank Aaron hit the home run that made him the home run king. And say what you want about Barry Bonds and his steroids, Hank Aaron's still my home run king at 755. And the wall is still in an abandoned parking lot now in downtown Atlanta because the Braves moved to Cobb County. Speaking of moving, where's the Bloodmobile moving to today?
Hey, today we're going to be at Planet Fitness. We're going to be at both locations, so come by and see us. And again, just come see us at the Boulevard, 1607 East Silver Springs Boulevard. You can call us at 622-3544. Just please donate for an emergency need of everything.
So you're off this weekend. No football game. Westport next Friday, but you're off. You're not going to know what to do with yourself Friday night.
I'll figure it out. My wife has a plan.
I'm sure she does. Galen, we'll talk to you tomorrow, pal.
All right, thanks, man. Be good.
Yep. Galen Unall from Life South, brought to you by the good folks at Penn Flooring and Palm Garden Health and Rehabilitation Center. Coming up at the 8:50, we have an interview with author Christian Pauline. We're going to talk about gold diggers, stalkers, and exes. Oh, my. We'll do that next. You're listening to Ocala Talks on a Wednesday, hump day, right here on 1370 AM, 96.3 FM, WOCA, The Source.
Paddock Mall Studios. This is WOCA, Ocala, Gainesville, The Villages, 1370 AM, 96.3 FM, The Source.
USA Radio News with Lance Pride.
Whistleblower Tony Bobulinski says he met Joe Biden twice and talked about the family business. The 40,000 emails in Hunter Biden's laptop exposes the former vice president of suspicious activities. Mr. Bobulinski tells Fox News he's furious with the lies of Congressman Adam Schiff.
I was hoping the Bidens would do the right thing, or Schiff would retract his statement, but I could not allow another minute, another hour, or day for my family's name to be associated or muddied up around Russian disinformation.
Hunter Biden emails are under investigation by Senate Homeland Security Committee. Ahead of the National Guard arriving in Philadelphia, tensions grew for a second night Tuesday after police killed Walter Wallace Jr. as he approached officers with a knife in West Philly. Police report 1,000 people looting in the city's Port Richmond section. USA Radio News.
Are you ready for what's next? It's likely coming. More food shortages, power outages, grocery stores closed, social unrest. Ask yourself, do you have enough food and supplies on hand to last at least 30 days? Most Americans do not, but you can. Avoid the panic of the last-minute rush. Order your 4-week supply of emergency food today from mypatriotsupply.com. Starvation or dependency on the government are your only alternatives. Avoid those and the pain of being unprepared. Go to mypatriotsupply.com right now. Build your emergency food supply with meals that last up to 25 years in storage, shipped discreetly to your door. Folks that know what's coming are using today to prepare. There's time for you to do the same. That's mypatriotsupply.com, the original Patriot Preparedness Company. mypatriotsupply.com.
Oh, hey, Grandpa. Oh, hey, Grandpa. Hey, Grandpa.
Yes, buddy?
Can you take me fishing this weekend?
I'd love to. Have you noticed a change in your hearing over the years? Missing the little things in life? Visit Beneficial Hearing in Ocala today. Their expert team of audiologists will make sure you never miss a moment. Call Beneficial Hearing today at 352-629-4418 or visit them online, beneficialhearing.com.
Just Shipped is expanding to its first retail location at the new Boulevard Market located on the corner of Bonnie Heath and 36th Avenue. Just Shipped will still offer the same all-inclusive services of packing and shipping your items. Don't want to get out of your car? You don't have to, because Just Shipped is offering curbside service. That's right, curbside service